We will now start the regular press conference by Minister IWAYA. Over to you, sir. Thank you very much. I have two remarks to make at the outset. The first is related to the situation in Myanmar. Yesterday, I have issued a minister's statement in response to the lifting of the state of emergency in Myanmar, and also the announcement that there'll be general elections between December of this year and next year in January. In Myanmar, 4 years and a half after the coup d'etat, still now there are no signs of improvement, and I am seriously concerned about the situation on the part of our country. The general elections announced this time should be positioned as a process of recovery toward a democratic political system. We think that is the way it ought to be. So without any moves toward a political progress, if general elections take place, it may potentially cause a further strong backlash among the citizens of Myanmar. And so I am concerned seriously that a peaceful resolution would become more difficult. So based on this view, at this timing of lifting of a state of emergency, Japan once again strongly urges the Myanmar military to take concrete actions to immediately stop the violence, release those who are detained, including Aung San Suu Kyi, and swiftly restore Myanmar's democratic political system. At the same time, we will be strongly calling for a ceasefire throughout Myanmar and its credible implementation, so that all parties would make sincere efforts toward a peaceful resolution of issues. This is what we will be strongly calling for.
On a milestone year, marking 80 years since the atomic bombings, Japan is determined to lead the international community towards a world without nuclear weapons. As part of the effort, from the 3rd of August, I will invite Dr. Robert Floyd, Executive Secretary of the CTBTO, and from the 4th of August, Dr. Do Phuong Viet, presidential candidate for the 2026 NPT Review Conference, to Japan. I will be meeting them both in person. As for Dr. Floyd, Executive Secretary, is slated to take part in the Peace Memorial in Nagasaki, and Dr. Viet will attend the memorial in Hiroshima. I hope to make this an opportunity to deepen collaborations with both towards a world without nuclear weapons. Those are my opening comments.
Please raise your hand if you have a question, and when called upon, please proceed to the nearest microphone. State your name and affiliation before you state your question. Kyodo News, Aika-san, please. Thank you very much. Ayuka from Kyodo Tsushin. In relation to what you have said, with regard to Japan's nuclear policy, I'd like to raise a question. Recently, Kyodo announced that it was revealed that during the extended deterrence dialogue involving the foreign and defense officials from both Japan and the U.S., scenarios involving U.S. Nuclear weapons use were discussed, and that became clear. And earlier on, you have mentioned that this year it's a milestone year after the atomic bombing. So Japan advocates a world without nuclear weapons. But the reality is such that Japan is dependent on the U.S. nuclear umbrella. And because of the difficult security situation, there is increasing dependence on extended deterrence, including nuclear capabilities, in light of the security environments. How does the government intend to reconcile the pursuit of nuclear abolition with reliance on extended deterrence, please? I am aware of the reports that you have pointed to. I would like to refrain from commenting on each and every detail of these reports. In any case, on the part of our country, we will communicate closely with the United States government. So it is our thinking that we like to strengthen the credibility of extended deterrence on the part of the United States, including nuclear deterrence, with regard to abolition of nuclear weapons and efforts toward that end, and the increasing credibility of nuclear deterrence. Both are not, I don't believe both are incompatible. That is, we are the only country that suffered the atomic bomb, and so nuclear eradication is something that we ultimately must pursue. And unfortunately, nuclear weapons continue to expand. And we are surrounded by nuclear weapons. And so never again should nuclear weapons be used. We should not allow for that. And that is very important as well. So I don't believe that there is no inconsistency or incompatibility between the two. In any case, under the present international situation, the path toward a world without nuclear weapons is, in a sense, increasingly harsh. But that is because it is the state of things. As the only country to have suffered the atomic bomb, we need to bridge between nuclear weapon states and non-nuclear weapon states and to coordinate with both. Under the NPT, which is the only universal framework toward a world without weapons, we should seek, going forward, realistic and practical approaches into the future as well, and we would like to do so. And with regard to Japan-U.S. extended deterrence, as one of the agendas, there's a tabletop exercise which is regularly included, the most recent one in June of 2025. In the Japan-U.S. extended deterrence talks, I understand that tabletop exercises did take place. With regard to the details of this exercise, because of the nature of this matter, I'd like to refrain from answering.
Next question, Yomiuri Shimbun, Uemura-san. This is Uemura from Yomiuri Shimbun. With regards to the foreign minister meeting the other day with South Korea, I think the foreign minister of South Korea has selected Japan on his first visit since taking office. What is your reaction to that? And what initiatives did you discuss during the meeting to further develop Japan-South Korea relations? Minister Cho Hyun, the new foreign minister of South Korea. The very first visit to a foreign country was Japan has been chosen as such. Almost immediately after taking office, I would like to welcome this fact. A summit meeting has been held already, but since the new administration has been inaugurated in South Korea, having this high-level meeting and the fact that we're having close communication between the two governments is something that is must be commended. At the foreign ministerial meeting, we call it the shuttle dialogue. In other words, the collaboration between Japan and Korea should be strategically be maintained, and the collaboration between Japan, Korea, and the United States should be our focus. That was also shared during the meeting. If you think about the region that we're in, Japan, Korea, and China framework is also very important, and we both discussed about that as well. At any rate, our two bilateral relationships between our two countries is in a very favorable situation right now, and we hope to further develop our relationships from here. That is a point that we both agreed upon going forward. I look forward to having close communications with Foreign Minister Cho Hyun.
Next question, please. Kato-san, Asahi Shimbun, please. Kato from Asahi Shimbun. Regarding recognition of the state of Palestine, I'd like to ask about the developments regarding questions. Following on France, other countries have expressed their intention to recognize the state of Palestine under certain conditions. So what is your view of this development, and would you reiterate Japan's position on recognizing Palestinian statehood? Now, the three G7 members expressed intentions of recognition. U.S. Secretary of State Rubio has shown a critical stance. What role does Japan intend to play to maintain solidarity within the G7? Well, with regard to the recognition of the state of Palestine, the respective countries of the G7 are communicating diverse messages. On the part of our country, we are looking on with great interest, and we are focusing on this matter with great interest. On the other hand, our thinking on the part of our countries is that, I've mentioned this at several past occasions, we will be steadily supporting a two-state solution toward we will understand the wishes of the Palestinians toward developing an independent country, and we will be supporting the Palestinians in their efforts. There is no change in our thinking with regard to this. So from such a perspective, the situation surrounding Palestine and with regard to the international discussions that are taking place, we will continue to entertain a high level of interest. Earlier on in New York, there was an international conference, and we have sent a government representative, and along with Norway, we have co-chaired the thematic roundtable session of economic viability on the card of our country from the perspective of backing up the progress of the peace process regarding recognition of Palestine, including the appropriate timing and the way it is conducted. We'd like to make comprehensive studies. And also, the G7 solidarity is extremely important. And so, therefore, with the G7 countries, including the United States, concerning this issue as well, we'd like to communicate closely. And the issue is as to what is effective and what would lead to materialization. We have to give serious thought to this. And so the two-state solution, in order to realize that, what would be most effective in the true sense of the word, and what is practicable on the part of our country? We want to seriously think about it and make judgments. In the Gaza area, the humanitarian situation is deteriorating, and in the West Bank, the humanitarian situation is also extremely bad. To improve this is of foremost importance. So for this as well, on the part of our country, we will continue to make our maximum diplomatic efforts.
Baba-san from Nikkei. This is Baba from Nikkei. Thank you for taking my question. I have a question with regards to tariff negotiations. President Trump signed an executive order on reciprocal tariffs, which will take effect in 7 days. And this represents a fruition of negotiation led by Minister Akazawa. Your thoughts on that? And the government's explanation was that all items with the tariff rate below 15% will be subject to a flat 15%, and no additional tariffs will be imposed on items with a tariff rate above 15%. But unlike the EU, the White House announcement did not include this statement. I would like to ask again whether the government's explanation is correct. With regards to auto tariffs, the timing has not yet been decided. So I would like to ask how you view the situation. Now, with regards to the tariff negotiations, under the current situation, through very persistent negotiations, I think we were able to come up with the best outcome. Minister Akazawa, responsible for the negotiations, and his staff members, I would like to express my respect. On the 31st of July, U.S. time, President Trump signed an executive order with regards to reciprocal tariff, and the tariff to Japan has been set at 15%. This announcement has just been made, and we will need to scrutinize the details. As for the government of Japan, we will continue to request the U.S. government to take necessary measures to implement the agreement. In other words, the 15%, the agreement. In order to realize the agreement, necessary measures should be taken place, including reducing tariffs for auto and auto parts. In the bilateral agreement, the reciprocal tariff was to be raised to 25%, but that has been reduced to 15% with this agreement. What this means is that the tariff that the existing tariff above 15% will not be applied with this, and for those items that are less than 15%, it will be 15% for across all the tariff rates, and therefore. That is my understanding, and I would like to ask the government of the United States to implement measures.
Next question, IWJ, please. Thank you for your efforts. Hamamoto from IWJ on Israel, Palestine, and Gaza, and Japan-U.S. relations. These are what my questions pertain to. Senator Lindsey Graham, a Republican, stated in an interview with NBC that Israel is doing in Gaza what U.S. did in Tokyo and Berlin. Israel is going to do in Gaza what the U.S. did in Tokyo and Berlin, taking the place by force. This is an outrageous and criminal statement to the innocent indigenous Palestinians. During World War II, the U.S. forced Japan and Germany to surrender by force, and its occupying forces still remain, as seen in the recent tariff negotiations where Japan is forced to invest in the tariff negotiations, forced to invest 80 trillion yen, and 90% of the profits will be taken by the United States. It's clear that Japan and Germany remain under America's violent domination and exploitation, just like Gaza. Doesn't the Japanese government and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have the resolve to cast off such humiliation? Yes, the agreement between Japan and the U.S. This time is such that, as the Prime Minister has consistently spoken since the outset, investment over tariffs. That is the consistent thinking. And based on this, what needed to be protected was protected. And the resulting form was that it caters to the national interest of both countries, Japan and the United States. The United States wants to solve everything through tariffs, and it has called upon nations throughout the world based on this thinking. On the part of our country, we have the Japan-U.S. trade agreement, which was in existence, and the tariffs which needed to be, which had to be reduced. We have reduced it to the lowest level among the other countries. And so, rather than investment, rather than tariffs, through investment to both the United States and Japan, we want to bring about large benefits. It's a win-win relationship that we wanted to create, and that was the basic policy of our agreement. And through this, we have reached agreement. And so it's that the point you've made about being exploited or dominated does not apply. The agreement this time is such that both sides must sincerely implement this. Between Japan and the United States, there is to strengthen the economic security bonds and to strengthen Japan-U.S. relations further. I believe that in order to plan for this, this agreement was very significant. And that is the way it must be. We have to make it happen. So the point that you have made at the outset is not accurate.
Next question, Ayukawa-san from Kyodo Press. Ayukawa from Kyodo. Thank you for taking my question. Related to Yomiuri's question about the meeting with the Foreign Minister of South Korea. Earlier, you said that Japan, South Korea, and China, the relation framework is also very important. And this year, Japan will be serving as the country to serve as the president of the Trilateral meeting in Japan. It will be held in Japan. A high-level meeting was held, and I think the summit meeting will be held in Japan. You've only had this conversation with South Korea, but any ideas with regards to when the Trilateral meeting will be held? Any outlooks? Well, Japan, South Korea, and China framework is very important. The foreign minister for South Korea has changed. We have a new minister, and I would want to have I did talk that we would want to have a foreign ministers meeting for the three countries. For the summit meeting, yes, we do need to coordinate the schedules for that. When is this going to be held? It's not decided yet. There are domestic matters and schedules that have to be taken into account. So we will coordinate the schedule and will be held at the right timing. We definitely would like to make it possible.
Mainichi Shimbun, Tadakoro-san, please. U.S. Tariff announcements and the way it was announced, that is what my question pertains to. Japan's new rate, 15%, will be applied on the 7th, and that became clear in Japan time this morning. Japan wanted to have 10% applied, and there was some last-minute demand in hopes for this. But the news came out today, and so there's a lot of confusion. And so the U.S. communication and the way it is, what is your take on this? On the U.S. side, the agreement to be sincerely and speedily, as much as possible, effectuated. This is what we have consistently asked for. And so this is just speculation, but it's not only our country, but various countries are engaged in tariff negotiations with the United States. And executive orders must be issued to make this effective. And this is not necessarily proceeding smoothly. That is only my speculation. But for the businesses, predictability is of extreme importance. And so with regard to the agreement and the nature and the substance of the agreement, we hope that it will be speedily implemented, and we will work on the United States to do that. With that, we'd like to conclude today's press conference. Thank you very much to all.